Welcome to
Um,
the Comedy
it's out of fuck. It's not the
and
Browns out of.
Mushroom Cult. It's a podcast. It's also a cult, but it's also a podcast, but it's also a
But more
cult,
importantly, it's a cult.
but it's also a podcast.
And if you like podcasts, then you're gonna love our cult.
Dude, if you like cults, you would love our podcast.
Is it a catch-22? No, but more specifically, yes, it is.
It's a SR-71.
I don't know. Is it a bird
It's a
plane?
fighter jet.
Bird plane. Sorry, I'm running on like 4 hours of sleep today, so this is gonna be a weird one.
Why are you only sleeping 4 hours?
I had just a night. It's one of
Are
those
you
nights.
are you just being too cool all the time now? Is that so? Before we got on here, you said you don't like doing sketch as much as like you like doing comedy. But are you a dude now? Are you just like
No,
you're just a
no.
comedy? I do my 5 minutes, but I'm up until 3:30 dude now.
No, that's my no. There's no way. Also, I love sketch, so I just don't virtual like even virtual comedy is not anything virtual. I'm just what do you get from it?
Nothing. It's empty.
Yeah,
It's like doing comedy with a mask on. Like you're just it's masturbating. Like you're not doing anything
yeah.
useful.
It feels like work. It's like, hey, turn in your report and go home, and that's it.
I did
And
a Zoom show, one single Zoom show. I made $75 for
holy
doing
shit,
12 minutes. Yeah, that's what I was like. Yeah, that's a stupid amount of money for me sitting in my bedroom and doing it. And then I did it, and I was like, I should have been paid double because this was terrible.
I did. I think I did one good one where I made like 30 some odd dollars, and I treated it like it was like I didn't realize it was like a real show, and I kind of treated it like an open mic
It's not a real
and
show.
tried
Like,
new material because I was like, I'm in my living room. I don't want to do my tried and true bits in my office chair.
dude, the last thing, like, I'm very big on don't put really anything out there that you are not willing other people to see or like listen to.
Yeah,
So like especially on a Zoom show, like you're gonna like put out your good bits, but like with no crowd around. Like why would you do that?
I did do like one. I forgot about this one. It was like a school fundraiser, which was cool. That's why I did it. But they like had like three people unmuted to laugh, and everyone else was muted. So at least you had some feedback. You know what I mean?
Yikes. That's weird.
It was weird just because Zoom, it's like just a half second delayed, so you'll finish a punchline, and it'll be like silent, and then it'll be like ha 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 ha. Ha. You're like,
Yeah,
okay, it
that's like
landed.
I
Okay,
just like blew through laughs or like being upset. Like I just blew through it. I was like, this is a monologue. I'm going for 12 minutes. I'm just saying words. I don't care. And then after I was done, I was on my phone because I didn't have like my laptop set up or whatever. I was just taking video of my dog in the Zoom thing while like other people were finishing like their sets. I was like, I don't even want to be here now.
taking video of my dog
Yeah.
that doesn't
So
exist.
what's new in your life? It's been a while since we've talked. It has been like a real 2 week notice since we talked.
Yeah, I did. So I got a new job. That's it. That's like the big new thing.
Did you already? So let's
And
start at the
for the
beginning here.
record, I feel like we should start in a specific place first. Is that I saw Harrison live and in person. Shout out to Harrison and his mom.
Hey, shout out to Harrison and especially Harrison's mom. She's a
And
sweetheart.
yeah,
And
he just
Harrison's grandma, Sharon. I was Facebook friends with Sharon Poole. She would share. I don't think I'm out of the pocket saying that Sharon would share some borderline racist memes. So I was just kind of like, hey Sharon, I'm sorry.
it's
We
not
kind of
working out.
gotta. Hey, I kicked my own nana off my Facebook for like Irish slavery memes. So I was like, we're not doing this with somebody else's grandma. So shout out to the whole Poole family.
Well, I was just gonna. I mean, I just ran into him in person, and he says, "I said Harrison, good to see you." And he says, "Where is Papa?" And I said, "Ray's." I said, "Ray's not here." He goes, "It has been 17 fortnights since I've seen Papa," and he
Yeah, last
wept.
time I was in
He wept
town,
in
he
my
wasn't
arms.
in town. So like he's I told him we're gonna hang out next time I'm in town. So he'll probably be very excited. I'll be very excited. I like Harrison. I liked Harrison before it was cool to like Harrison.
I don't think. See, I don't. He's changed a lot, and now he's just consumed by blinding rage. 95% of the time. So you're gonna have to be ready.
Well,
He's
he's
gonna
not
try
paying
and
attention then. He needs to get on some yoga. He needs to get on some meditation. He needs to get on some comedy. He needs to get on some mushrooms. He needs to get on some cults. Like he needs to figure it out. We're not in the angry. This isn't the angry podcast.
what if that's for every ounce of less angry you get, it just transfers to Harrison? Where do you draw the line?
Ooh. That'd be like one of those like you can save everybody on the tracks. All you have to do is like kill your family or whatever kind of things.
Yeah,
Like, am I willing to be less happy to make sure he's more happy?
yeah.
I think
Keep
he's
in
also
mind,
like,
he's our only sponsor. Before you answer this,
yeah, that's true. But also, like, I think his unhappiness is why he gives us money. Like, nobody, nobody pays for this unless it's like their own version of self harm.
oh, that really cut deep. 'Cause-
I'm only giving you a visual rim shot, not even an audio one, for that bullshit joke.
that wasn't even a joke. That was more of an emotional thing, and then I realized that it was a pun, and I was like, "Oh, we stumbled upon something not even that great."
Can we make this kind of weird and deep real quick?
Yeah,
So a girl that I work
there's
with,
there's
she
no
goes
part of me that is not going to want to do that. As soon
no,
as you
it's
said
like
that, I was like, "I'm in."
this girl that I work with, she goes, "Yeah, I had one hell of a weekend. I walked in on my friend trying to kill herself." And I go, "Oh, that's wild." And she goes, "Yeah, she sent me a Snapchat like covered in her own blood, smoking a cigarette because she was on her way over there." And then she goes, "I'm here and the door's open whenever you're ready." So she gets there and saw that she had like cut her own wrist. And she said verbatim, this is what she said. She goes, at least one or two arteries had been cut and she was getting blood everywhere. So I go like a normal person. So you called the police or an ambulance, correct? And she goes, no, I took her to her mom's house. And I was like,
What?
what? And she goes, well, this isn't the first time this has happened. And I was like, well, but still, if she had cut an artery, I don't know how she's still alive.
How are you calm enough in that situation to not call the cops? I'd be like,
Dude.
all the rags on it, call the cops, tie it up, call the cops, do what you can, call the cops.
Yeah, that's what like I when I was in high school, I worked at a grocery store and like he had a fluorescent light bulb, like like those fluorescent light bulbs that go into like milk selling
Oh
things or
yeah, yeah,
whatever.
yeah.
And there was like a little like fixture that melted to the light bulb. And my boss was like, I couldn't change the light bulb because it was melted on there. And my boss was like, all you got to do is this. And he twists it and the fluorescent bulb explodes and like a shard of glass went like right into his wrist. And he did like the dumbest thing possible in that situation, which is pull the
Pull
piece
it
of
out.
glass right out
No.
and just started bleeding everywhere. So I had to like go and like wrap, like I had to take like an apron and wrap it around him, which he yelled at me for because it would stain the apron. He had to spend more money. And I was like, do you know what, man? Fuck you. Like we can't be in here letting you bleed out. Like I'm the one who has to clean this up. Like you would just leave and tell me to clean it up. So we had to call like the ambulance and everything. It was like a wild situation and I was almost panicking. And that was like him being okay, not slicing one or two arteries open.
I remember like when we were relatively younger, my dad was trimming the hedges and he was home alone and he was using like hedge clippers and
Bad
he thought
idea. Bad idea.
yeah, he thought somebody called his name, so he turned around and like when he did, it like pulled his arm a little bit and his finger went like into the hedge clipper, his index finger, and it like cut to the bone and it was just literally hanging on by the tip of the bone. And so what did he do? He put away the hedge clippers and he put away his what's like the blue thing, tarp, so that nobody would steal it. And then he got in the car, put a napkin on it, and drove to the hospital. Like nothing. And he was like,
Jesus
yeah, it's just
Lord.
a flesh wound. It's fine. There's nothing going on. Like,
My uncle that happened, he did he's big into woodworking. And like he would just like a piece of wood got stuck and like it got jammed and he was like forcing it and it like cut his thumb off and like it cut like the tendon and everything. So like now it's on his right hand too. So like all of his fingers, like his like other three fingers work, but like when he goes to shake your hand, like his thumb and his index finger are dead. but he had like a white collar job, so he was like, I can't not have fingers and like meet these people. So he's just got like random like dead fingers on his hand.
I
It's
can't
just
not have
wild.
fingers.
Yeah, it's like maybe that's a good story. Like he's an IT guy. Like it's not like he's like a CFO or anything like that. Like go he might be like he might have been like the chief technology officer or something like that, but like be like, "Hey man, cut my fingers off." Like sorry. Like that's at least a good story. Now he's got to be
Yeah.
like, "Yeah, I had my fingers cut off, but I just didn't want to commit to not having fingers."
I mean, like even if they're just for show, I'd keep them. You could still finger gun somebody. It sounds like he's stuck in permanent finger gun / L. Like he can do this, the finger gun, right?
Probably. Well, but like it's like bent. So it's like they're like
Oh,
they like go with like wherever you put it. And it's just like, all right, like you can't even use that like sexually at any point either. Like you just like are looking for a dislocated finger. Like it's not.
like that's the first place your brain goes is sexually his finger. Useless.
Yeah, like
That's
just
how you define
completely
usage
pointless.
for.
Like what else are fingers used for? It's pleasing your lover and opening pickle jars, and he can do neither with his dead ass fingers.
I was gonna say, yeah, pleasing lovers and then pointing at lovers to say, "Hey, that's my lover over there." If you can't point at them to identify them, are they even yours?
Like you know how like those Ohio is for lovers shirts? It's just fingers are for lovers. Like that's a t-shirt.
That's our first T-shirt. People are gonna be like, "What point are you guys even trying to make?" And we're gonna be like, "I don't know, but commit to it, baby." Double down on the bit. That's like
Which
so
brings us to
funny
our
too, because
first sponsor. No, just
we're dude,
fingers.
we're gonna get some weird dude that's like we're gonna print "Fingers Are for Lovers" shirts, and there's gonna be one weird dude that's just gonna like make eye contact with you at the urinal, and just be like, "Hell yeah, I get it."
I
And be like,
get
"I
it.
don't want you to."
It's like I made it and I don't get it. How do you get it? But this week's show is brought to you by Fingers. Fingers reaching. Like what a
Are
cool
you
sponsor.
are you looking for a climax? Fingers. I don't know what that means.
Fingers. Chickens are so jealous of them. They'll die to become them. Fingers.
It is weird that chicken fingers are delicious, but if they came out with a product called beef fingers, I don't think it would sell.
Beef fingers. Looking for a climax?
Are you looking for a vegan alternative to chicken fingers? Beef fingers.
What?
Oh no. The brain's not making connections.
Oh fuck,
Right,
dude.
right. If I had to describe where my brain's at right now, it's like the entire wreck of the Titanic. It's like right before the boat splits in half. Everybody knows they're fucked. They're like, there's a chance. And then
Except
10
for
minutes. 10,
Kathy, what's
10
her face? The Steamboat Susan or whatever her name was. Do you remember who that is? It was like some lady who was like famous for like saving people in the wreck.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I gotta look it up now. It was like
And they gave her the nickname Steamboat Susan.
like that's even like Titanic
Steamboat Susan, here
lady
to save the day.
survivor. God damn it.
Also, does this story end with the girl with the arms? She alive?
Um
So they take her
I
to
also I guess she's still alive. Molly Brown. That was the name of her.
Steamboat Susan. You went from Steamboat Susan to Molly Brown.
The unsinkable Molly Brown. I was close.
No, you said Steamboat Susan. You named like an old timey boat song.
She was born in 1867. What a cool like I want at some point um like her job was known as socialite and philanthropist. There's no reason why she needs to be that rich.
I just want my nickname to be Steamboat Joe Briggs.
I think she like survived like a couple, or no, maybe she just survived the Titanic. I thought she had survived a couple boat things. Less impressive. Hey, congrats on surviving the Titanic, but also survive another boat attack for being called unsinkable Molly Brown. Steamboat Susan would have wiped the floor with Molly Brown.
Steamboat Susan has like a theme song that's similar to the Mighty Mouse theme song. In my mind, I'm just like Steamboat Susan here to save the day, and it's just like weird. But like kids like it, but so do adults.
Steamboat, what was it Steamboat Willie, the first like Mickey Mouse thing? Like he was on like a
Yeah,
steamboat.
yeah, and he just shrugs a lot.
Yeah,
He's got back problems.
yeah, wild.
Yeah,
So like all of a sudden we go from like Steamboat Willie to them controlling all of media. Like that's an insane like glow up over 100 years or so.
calling it a glow up is like the understatement of the century.
Hey, talk for a minute. I gotta go yell at my dog.
You're probably wondering what happened to Ray. You and me both, brother. This week, we step in deeper to the podcast in our new Unsolved Mysteries segment. Where is Ray Roberts? This whole time you've been asking, who is Ray Roberts? But now we want to ask, where is Ray Roberts? Coming to a podcast near you, The Hunt for Ray Roberts.
I wasn't letting me unmute for a minute. I was like about to
It was
like
like
lose my
honestly
mind.
perfect timing. I just made up a different podcast that we plugged in the middle of this podcast.
That's one of those things where like I don't want to make more shirts, but like I thought it would be fun to like make a like not who is Ray Roberts, but like why is Ray Roberts? Like there's so many fun things that I could do with that stupid little what is it, an anagram? Abbreviation? What is that?
Abbreviation or anagram? Is it anagram? No, anagrams when you can switch the words and they mean different things. It's just a. Oh man, I just watched Iron Man the other day. They say it in that movie. Jeez, what is that called?
I don't yeah, like that's something that they need to do a better job at in school. Is like they teach you that, but like then you're like a I don't what is that? First letter makes
Amalgam?
first letter of each word makes a letter. Acronym.
Acronym.
Like why don't I just know that?
Because they're all like words that nobody needs anymore.
Yeah, but that's something that I need that. Like I know that the mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Like I don't need to know that. I know about
Obviously.
Steamboat Susan. She's not even a real person.
She's not even. Is she? I don't want to Google this on my computer. I'm afraid of what will come up for Steamboat
Wouldn't that be
Susan.
like weird if that was like a video that I watched at some point and I was like, whoa, and then it just like stuck itself in my brain and I attached it to the unsinkable Molly Brown.
The unsinkable Molly Brown.
The unsinkable Molly Brown doesn't deserve that.
Steamboat Magazine pays tribute to Susan Schieser.
Who's
Steamboat
that?
Susan. I don't know. She's an artist though, so not nearly as much steamboats as we want.
Yeah, I'm a big steamboat aficionado.
That's my goal for this podcast: is that we can get enough money doing this podcast to eventually buy a steamboat, a fully functioning steamboat.
Hey
And we just
Harrison, what are you
traverse the
doing?
Mississippi.
Harrison, get us a steamboat.
Need money, Harrison.
Remember when David Horning was trying to raise money for that crazy speedboat?
Yeah, I respected it.
Dude, it was my favorite thing on the internet. Like I love that's what the internet is made for. Like people have gotten too like secure with like being like I'm in like my big spiritual thing where I'm trying to be more honest and earnest and all that stuff and like be more sincere. But like people forgot that the internet was made for like weird kitschy bullshit. And I feel like there's like that's just a perfect thing. Like somebody from like Cleveland scene could have picked that up and been like Cleveland comedian David Horning is looking for people to pay money for a steamboat, and you're like, well, it's fun, and they're like, well, not during these trying times,
Not dur-
being fun, like, just shut the fuck up.
I think he also got COVID more than any person I've met in my entire life.
How many times did he get COVID?
Twice. So I think
Well,
that's the new world record.
I don't think so, because I forget who I was talking to. Somebody told me like their mom works in a jail or something, and like inmates were getting it like multiple times.
Yes.
Which whatever, like it's gonna
Hey,
happen.
Papa Joe Biden said vaccines are going to be available by May for anyone that wants one.
Joe Biden also said I'd have $2,000 by now, and I
Yeah,
do not.
what the fuck is up with that? Trump was giving us more money? What?
Yeah, that's bullshit. Like it's like fine, Joe Biden has like done stuff for the climate and blah blah blah, but then he like went back to like bombing people. It's honestly like the Obama administration part 2 where they're like, "Hey, we believe that gay people are the same as everybody else except for these people we're going to go kill on the other side of the planet." Like you're just like, god, yeah, like I get it. I'm real happy that gay people are allowed to like live without being murdered all the time for no reason. Like that's a good thing, but there's got to be like a world where we can do that and also not kill people in another country.
I just don't get like how. I mean, I'm obviously not the president yet, but like,
I
I
like
don't
how
get
you
how you.
put yet.
Well,
Believe in
I like to
yourself, kid.
leave my options open.
Yeah.
I just don't know how you can sign off on that. Like, you get a piece of paper that's like, yeah, we're gonna blow shit up, and you're just like, do it, my brother, and that's it. You just sign off on it.
Yeah, I
That was a
remember
pretty good Joe
watching
Biden impersonation too.
I remember there's a bunch of malarkey. I remember watching a 60 Minutes thing about how like they don't even go to like military advisors. It's more lawyers that they talk to in the whole thing
What?
to like make sure that like it's like internationally legal what they're doing.
Seriously.
Instead of like if it's a good thing. And they're just like, yeah, we talk to our lawyers to make sure nobody's going to jail. And
How
you're
is
like,
it?
well, there we go. Like, good job, guys.
So like, if you come and break into my house, it's legally not cool. But if you drone strike it, you're good.
I think it's legal. Like Ohio's got like the castle law. Like I think if
Is
somebody
that
comes in your house and you can kill them,
Yeah, that's a person. But what if a drone comes in my house, beats me up real good, takes my money?
the that's my money.
That's my money.
I don't know. Who do you like? Do you like? Is that what you write a senator for? Be like, excuse me, sir, I just got mugged by a drone,
This is a
and then
stand your ground state, and I
you
want to
just
know.
you just attach a clip of Amber going, "That's my money."
And then just the complete movie, I Robot.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah,
Robots are like they Vice News released an article on how to fight one of those Boston Dynamics robots. The world is crazy right now, dude.
I'm just living in it, trying to trying to do my best in 2021. That's the goal.
Yeah, dude. We're just rocking, we're rolling, we're yogaing, we're dating. Like we're just
Getting the stash back.
so yeah, so you're growing the stash back for a sketch. I don't want you to like spoil the sketch, but why do you always have to have a mustache in sketches? Comma, why can't you just buy a mustache that you can take off?
Because it won't look nearly as good. One, two, it really won't look that good. And then three, it's like a taco truck one, so I want it to be good.
It's a taco truck one. So
Yeah.
not so you're growing a mustache to culturally appropriate who usually runs taco trucks?
No, no, no. It's like the group is taco truck. I'm gonna be a cop. It's gonna be
Oh,
a
oh,
cop in the
oh,
video.
oh, 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 yeah, I remember the
Oh,
group.
it's
Okay.
I'm not culturally appropriating taco trucks. Which, by the way, Mexican food is my favorite food, though. So
That'd be so funny if you just show up and you're like, "What's up, SA?" And they're like, "You're
what's up,
obviously
Holmes?
not Mexican." And they're like, "Do you not see the mustache?" Like that's where I thought the sketch was going. And I was like, "I'm pretty sure that's not allowed."
It's Isn't that exactly what Channing Tatum did in like 22 Jump Street when he's just like, "My name's Jeff," and he just has a mustache?
I've never seen that movie.
Talk about killing a vibe. I'm just on it today, baby.
Yes, and
Yes. Also, that is still like one of my favorite improv experiences of all time. When we went on stage, and what was it called? No, but also no,
yeah, no, but not no, but also, but
no.
people were not happy.
That one lady, I had to apologize to her.
She's like, she goes, "Wait, is this for real right now?" And we're just like, "Yes, we need a prompt."
I got like really into it, and I was like, "We need a suggestion." And she was like, "Aladdin," and I was like, "A good one. We need a good suggestion,
That
not this
was probably
garbage."
like, dude, like for that being my last set in town before I left, that was perfect because I bombed and then I brought you up and then like we made everybody mad and then you showed that music video that made no sense at all. And just anybody who wasn't us who just hated the whole thing.
Yeah, I'd gotten like video editing software that month and learned how to use it, and I was like, "This will be funny," and it was funny for two people. And
Yeah.
I think it said like "Enjoy Vermont" in the video, and people were like, "Oh, Ray's going to Vermont," and you're like, "Not, no."
It just made no sense. But like that's what's funny is like yeah, anybody like not to be like anybody can do comedy, but anybody can if you've been writing jokes for like 5 minutes and you have any talent, you can go up there and be like farts, right? And then people will be like, ah, farts. Like you'll get a laugh. But like for something to be like genuinely like funny to two people, but like objectively funny. If everybody in the room knew what was going on, it's funny to everybody, but it's only funny because it's happening to us. Like that to
We
me is what the best funny is. Is like get
Yeah,
down to like that niche of like this is going to be funny for one person and I want to know that person.
that whole night was essentially like, "Hey, do you guys like inside jokes that you're not a part of?"
Yeah,
And then they were like, "No," and we were like, "Okay, here they come."
and that's but like going back to like the internet being kitschy, that's what the internet used to be was like
Oh, it
like
was the best.
inside jokes for like people who went on the internet and now it's just recycling like hack jokes and
When
it's just like
YouTube,
no.
yeah, when YouTube first came out, and it was just like people in their living room doing funny shit instead of like highlights from Jimmy Fallon the night before. Like, I hate
Or
that.
E-Bombs World, like do you
Yeah,
remember E-Bombs World, like where things were like great? That's where you learn about like the internet. Like there was a there was I remember
that's
it
where
was like
you
this
learn about the internet.
this is yeah, the internet is where I learned about the internet. But like
You got to
there's
go
like
to the
a
internet.
cartoon where like it was talking about like this guy was like blue balls are the worst. And then like he's like, but the best part is when you finally get to release them or something like that. And it was like this cartoon chick, like you see her about to give him head, and then the next scene you see is a hole blown out of the back of her head because he came so hard. And you're like this shouldn't be funny, but it's so fucking like it's so funny.
What was that one video that was like everywhere? The one that was like, "Okay, so here's the world." You know what I'm talking about?
Yo,
That was like a perfect voice for
yes,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was one. That was spot on. Yeah, they made a new one like recently just to like try to
Really?
cash in on it, and it got nothing because it wasn't good.
And that guy's
I think it
probably
was
like
just called
in
the
his
end of the
40s
world,
now.
right?
Yeah. I think it's End of Z World, like ZE. Okay, so here's China, France, UK, and Russia, and us. Yeah, no. It's like,
The end of the world. It's
well,
on like multiple things. End of Z World, 1080p. That's such a it's but like that was when the internet was fun and when like the it's got the whoop whoop like that video that
oh,
was gangbusters, dude.
dude, even like I don't. There's just so much like random old shit that I don't think you'll get anymore. Like, do you remember the Oh, what was that video called? The one that was like the Leave Britney Alone guy.
Oh yeah.
Like,
He
dude,
was ahead of his time.
you're
Have you
never gonna
watched
see
that
something like that again.
documentary yet?
No, I just don't like want to be sad.
It's
I feel
not
like
that sad. It's
not.
one of those we watched it Sunday, Monday, something like that. It's only like an hour and some long. But it's like legit, like it's QAnon for like the LGBTQ community. That's like 100% what it is. Like it's
Oh,
just a
really?
bunch of like they all show up with like weird signs and they're like Brittany was wearing yellow today. That means that she's unsafe. And you're like, well, I guess maybe like she needs to just like I think personally, and like you forget like how crazy it was during those times, and like yeah, obviously she snapped under all that pressure, but like also
She was like 20 some odd years old. Who wouldn't
yeah,
have? I would have
like
been
hey, let's
fried.
take a break real quick. Like her dad probably shouldn't be in charge of her entire life, but who are these fucking people who are like hey, I know that you have like a part-time job at Baskin Robbins, but like also like you need to like do something other than care about Britney Spears' money. Like just kind of like yeah, let's treat people better overall, not just famous people, but like that's kind of the price that you pay for being that rich is like having people around you all the time. But like
Do you,
also like let's just be nice and then like let's move on. Like you do like these people were outside the courthouse and people were like putting notes in a Google Doc so they could do online videos. And it's like so you're mad that everybody's making money off of Britney, but like now you're like making money off of Britney with like your live streams of this whole thing. Like it's just it doesn't make sense.
so here's a question. Do you okay? So when everybody's vaccinated or we have herd immunity and all that, and things open back up, do you think
Yeah,
people are going to be nicer to each other because they like miss being out with people, or you think they're going to be
nah,
way worse?
it's gonna be way worse.
Really?
um, like so like when I came up here, like it's been way more open up here than it is down there, since I've been here. Um, but like it's just people aren't used to dealing with other people as much. So like people are used to like doing things like when you stay at home for too long and then you go out in public and like you like fart in public and you're like, oh shit, I forgot I was in public. Like that's everybody. Like I went to a movie and like people were just like sitting there hammered, like talking to each other in a movie, and they're like, ah, it's a movie. And it's like, yeah, it's a movie. You shut like we're you're supposed to be quiet. Like this is like the quiet place. Like you're not at home.
Oh man, dude, that's so fucking so weird. I was hoping you were going to say the opposite thing. I was hoping people were going to be so like just missing other people and also like socially insecure that everybody's going to be too nice. That's like my dream world. Is everyone
I
gets
mean, that's all of
vaccinated?
Wisconsin, really. It's just
Well,
everybody's
don't you
just
know?
like afraid to be in front of people. But like
It sounds
I
perfect.
think well like I like doing shows now on like weekends because that's like people's like I'm going out of the house the one time this week. Like instead of like in the past where like this was our date night. Like it was like this is the one time I'm leaving the house this month. So like they're like ready for fun. Like they're just there for a good time. They don't care if you like crucify Trump on stage or something. But they'll just like go along with it because they're like, all right, I'm actually out of the house and like ready to have fun. Where now I think people are just going to be like, I'm finally allowed out of the house again. I'm allowed to while out.
Yeah, I think people are going to go nuts. Like when things reopen, people are going to lose their fucking minds. Because
Yeah, but I mean, things are mostly open
things
now.
are
Like you
mostly
just have to
open,
wear a
but
mask.
like even when the bars here switched back to 2 a.m., people like freaking went nuts. Shows were great for like that week because people were just like happy they could go to a bar until 2. It was weird.
It's very strange, and it's one of those like, I guess maybe since I'm like outside of that bar until 2 o'clock in the morning world now, since I like don't drink. But like even when I did drink, like yeah, it was nice that it was always there. But like I a lot of times it's like I like going to a bar until like midnight and then going home and getting like shitty. So like when I
Same.
fall asleep on the couch, like I'm okay. If I fall asleep at a bar, like that's when it becomes an issue.
Well, I kind of like I did like this is gonna sound lame, but like the curfew stuff, I like that shows had to be done earlier because then I'd get like a good night's sleep. It's like just an excuse for me to get like quality sleep time. Like there was There was a point in time where like bars, when things got shut down for 3 months and then things like immediately reopened, there was a couple shows and like everything had to be done by like 9 o'clock, and that was just the dream. So I'd get home by like 10, brush my teeth, have a glass of water, maybe watch an episode, fall asleep.
That's what I do now, anyways. That's what I did before the
Oh,
lockdown.
nice.
Is like after the show's done, like I go do my time, go home. Like even at like Water Street, I'd volunteer to go first, watch the guy after me, sneak out in the middle of like the third guy's set, just be gone. Like it's the best, and I still do it.
Yeah. I don't even know why I go to like a ton of shows, but I just have that guilt of like, if they stayed for me, I should stay for everybody. It's so dumb.
I'm I'll do it like last weekend or last Wednesday. I stayed because like my buddy up here is like he was closing the show, like the whole thing. So like the way that Skyline works is like the host gets 6 minutes, everybody gets a 4 minute spot, and then like the closer gets 8 minutes, and that's kind of like you testing to like be a host or whatever. Because hosts here get 10 minutes right off the rip. So then like so I went like there were like 15 people on the list. I went 13th and he was closing. So I was like, all right, I'll stick through a couple people just to like hang with him afterwards for a minute. But like I'm not like if I go like fourth or fifth, I'm gonna do my time and then I'm gonna drive home so I can be home,
How long is
get
your
some
drive
yoga in
though
and go to bed.
now?
Huh?
How long is that drive to shows now?
Like an hour and a half up there.
Really?
There's I mean there's stuff in Milwaukee, but like you have to wear your mask on stage. And it just doesn't like even like it's at a karaoke bar, which fine, shout out to the High Note, like it's a cool bar. Um, but like even like when people are doing karaoke, they have to wear masks. So like, what are we even
That's
doing it
weird.
for? Yeah,
Yeah.
like sing at home. Like you can just like sing at your house, and or you can do the same thing
Sing
that you're
sing in
getting.
the
Like
shower like everybody else.
open mic comedy with a mask on, and then like the guy who like runs the place, very nice guy, but he like leaned into it and he's like, yeah, sorry, we're following the rules. And it's like, yeah, bro, like that's why I don't want to go there, is because like it's just fine, like
Yeah.
stay open, keep your business. I don't drink, like I'm just gonna sit there, like who am I doing comedy for at that point? I'm just doing comedy for myself, to hear myself talk like muffled through a mask. Like it's
Well,
not
like
helping anybody.
so much of I feel like your emotion is conveyed through your facial expressions. So like to limit half of that, it seems so weird to me.
Yeah, it doesn't even make sense. And all these
Yeah.
dudes, like, I don't want to like shit on them by any means because like I've gotten to know a few of them and like I don't like dislike that scene as much anymore just because like I was just being a dipshit half the time. But like it's like cool. Like we get it. You're doing comedy with your friends. It's like what like back what like Lakewood used to be back in the day, where it would just be like the same six people like hanging out and doing an apartment show. It's like no, you're just
Yeah.
hanging out with your friends and you want to like jerk each other off. Like that's what you're doing. Like
But
cool. Like
even
maybe take a week off.
yeah.
Go make a real show. Like set something up where like you don't have to like wear a mask.
But even then too, like even if you are like hanging out and doing open mics with the same type of people, like the only time I really don't respect it is if it's like the same jokes over and over and over with like no
That's what a
changes.
lot of them do. And like it's just like, all right, guys, I get like you need to keep your 5 minutes sharp or whatever, but
Yeah.
like now, especially like the show, even like real shows don't even really matter as much because like whatever, like you're gonna do your time. Like people don't want, it's like inauthentic. Like if you do something that's almost too polished, like it feels weird to everybody.
Yeah.
Like that lacquer of like life has kind of been taken off of it, which is what I like. But like I also got used to like doing shows at the funny stop where like if you don't have like a polished out bit, like nobody's gonna be listening or paying attention. So like it doesn't make sense. So it's like kind of deprogramming myself from being like, all right, I have the outline of what I want this bit to look like. Let's go up there and just figure it out.
That's how I like kind of write is I like think of the talking points that I want to hit and then like try to like find jokes along the way.
Yeah, it's the
I don't
best.
know.
It's the most
It's the
fun way to
best.
do it.
Yeah. I feel like it's a little bit lazy because I think it goes better if I like sit down and like hammer for 2 hours and try to write it out. Even if I don't use those like if I like try and write jokes like tags or whatever on it, and even if I don't use those, if I think of something better live, you know what I mean? Just
Mine's
like
the opposite. Like if I do it and I like write it down, it'll like get stuck in my brain how I wrote it. So
Oh,
like
my
I would
memory is
rather
so
like,
bad.
dude, it's like I would, but like I'll find like that groove and it's hard for me to jump out of it. So like I don't know if we've already talked about this or I said it to somebody else, but like I'll like not telling a joke for a long time and then like having like a real show come up and be like, "Oh, I have to do this joke."
Yeah,
And then
that
you
was
have like
us.
a new angle on it.
Yeah, because I did like I did that. I have like a joke about the Friends theme song, and like I didn't do that for probably like all of COVID. Like I don't think like COVID happened, and I don't think I had done that joke until like 2 weeks ago. And it was like a good joke, and I did it, and it went great. I was just like, I don't know, it felt like a new joke almost, and then I was able to like change up the like
Yeah,
switch
there's
the
like
order on.
room in it. Yeah, like you can
Yeah,
switch the order and like there's like more like breathing room and you're like, "Oh, I could like slide this other dumb shit thing I've been working on into there." Like and
yeah,
it's just it's nice because you look at it with almost like a fresh set of eyes. Like where like when you first tell a joke and like you don't know where it's going and the crowd doesn't know where it's going and you're like shit. And like you almost have to like panic right the end of it for it to like be good and then your brain kicks in. Like that's almost what I like retelling those old jokes for, is because I'll just be like, Mr. Christ, if you're nasty. And then you're like you just like get robotic on it. And then like like I know
is
like
that how
it's
you
just like
tell? Do you have like a different stage persona now in Wisconsin? You're just like, Mr. Christ, if you're nasty,
yeah,
with
well,
arms wide open, which is the same way you die.
that's a great joke. That's an objectively a great joke. Like that is my perfect like if I don't know, whatever. No, like so this one
I
I just
remember,
went
I
up
remember
yeah,
that
go
is a
ahead.
good joke because it's one of those jokes that like this will happen rarely, like with local people. I feel like I don't mean this as like an insult,
No,
but
go for
there's
it.
people there are jokes that when you hear them for the first time, you like remember where you heard it because you like you hear it and then you like in that moment think to yourself like, "Fuck, I wish I would have thought of that." And
And it's
anytime
one of
those
the
jokes hit,
that was
that
a
was like
joke.
I heard you do it at the East End for the first time that I heard it,
Yeah, that might have been the
and I was
first
like,
time I
"Fuck."
told it.
Yeah, it
Because
was the
it's right
same
about the
night.
time.
Yeah, it was the same night I did like a joke for the first time that I still use.
I think I crushed that night. Like absolute like
Everybody did.
I
It was a great night.
yeah, like that was one of those like I started getting good at that room and like reading like you couldn't go in there like swinging. You had to like ease into it and then like sneak it up on them. I
That
liked
room
that
is
room.
great. Yeah.
Yeah. But uh like I'll go up and I even like said something when I was going up there. Like I went after like a real low energy guy this last like anytime like I can be low energy sometimes. Like if I'm not feeling it, I'll be low energy. But like this guy's whole thing is like, yeah, I did this and then and like he's funny, but like you're just kind
Is
of
it
lulled to
Brett?
sleep. No, it's kind of like Brett, but think of less autism. Like it's just
That's
like
not autistic.
all right.
It's so nice.
But
He's
okay, Brett might not be autistic, but his writing is. Does that like but you know what I mean? Like and so like this guy's just like very low energy and he's got good jokes, but then I go up there and I was like, "Hey everybody." And then, like just nobody was having it. I was like, "I just needed to be a change of pace." Like there's
yeah.
no way that I can come on this mic cuz I'll be like I'll usually like start okay like on like a up note and then it'll usually taper off as like I get into new stuff and I'm not sure of the jokes. And I even said that I was like I usually like lose confidence in myself, but like you also just saw what no confidence looks like. So like you have to like and it's like his thing on purpose. Like it's not like I was like talking shit about him because I even like said something. I
Yeah.
was like, "Hey man," like and he's like, "No, that's like what I'm going for." And I was like, "All right, okay. I just wanted to make sure we're on the same page with
Yeah.
that." So I
Well,
can't go
that's
up there and be like, "Oh, life sucks," when like the guy before me was like, "Yeah, I'm
yeah.
gonna murder everybody." Like you're like, "Well,
Yeah.
fuck." Like
There's it's like you'll do like more story type jokes or longer bits, but like the two people I hang out with the most in Cleveland still are Brett and Joe, and they both just do like the short, dark one-liner type
it's
stuff.
impossible.
And it's impossible to me.
Well, like, and like that Creed joke, like, if that was one of those ones, like, I was in a big Creed phase, anyways. Like, I just like would get stuck on a band,
Hey,
and then it just popped
you
in
and
my
me
head.
both, brother.
Yeah, like, but I literally had to Google to make. It was one of those ones that like wrote itself, and I'm like, I had to have heard this somewhere. Like, this is one of those ones where like,
That's
it's
the
the
best
fucking
feeling.
Yeah, but it sucks because it's like stuck in your brain. Like when you stole my favorite bit for Kevin Farley and you talked about it on a different podcast. That's like that's kind of like what I thought that was.
So you listen though.
Yeah, because you were on it, and I wanted to know if I was brought up because I'm still vain. I want to know if my name gets brought up, and then you like word for word take me explaining why that bit is the best bit ever.
It was both of us talking about it on the first time I was on this podcast.
No, this is a different podcast. That was a different podcast.
Oh my god. What are you doing?
Putting a coat on. I'm cold. It's cold in my side room.
That is still the only bit I know from him or remember because I did see him once that time, and like that is my favorite bit of his though. It's the only
It's a
one
great
that like
bit.
yeah, it's the only one he did where I was like, I've heard that song a million times and I wish I had it.
And my brother Chris gave my dad a dildo, and you're like, all right, cool, like
Yeah,
whatever, man. Like I get it. Like this is a great story from 1994. Like let's fucking
do more Elton John shit.
yeah, let's keep
Like
the Elton John. Well, which one is it, Elton? Why'd you write the song? Fucking murderer. Like that joke is so good.
did you see they got like Bassem Youssef's coming on the funny stuff?
That's the Egyptian dude who did like the Daily Show Egypt, right?
Yeah, dude is like wicked smart.
That's kind of a huge get, and I want to know how he got that show because he seems like somebody that would like disagree with Pete 100% of the time.
And he's like also somebody that like Jon Stewart's like, this is the guy.
And he's working the funny stop in
Yeah,
Cuyahoga Falls.
so like I'm gonna try and get tickets, or like I don't know if I'm allowed to like badger Pete yet to be like, can I host or get a guest spot?
Just show up.
Yeah, I still haven't got a weekend spot ever. Did a
That's what
co-feature contest.
you just
Huh?
have to show up.
It's just hard to drive, like to do it that much FaceTime when it's an hour drive there and back.
Well, and that's why like I never really hung out unless I had a show. I never hung out at Hilarities where it's like I can go hang out at the funny stop, get 5 minutes, get a weekend at some point, and like hang out and talk to like somebody who's like who the headliner is or the feature and like hang out with them. Or I can drive up to Hilarities, pay for parking, go sit in the back
That
and talk
sucks.
to Joe Briggs, who I've got like I can text you and like talk to you. Like,
I'll be like,
not
hey,
do
remember
that.
that Kevin Farley bit?
Yeah. Which like now, like that's the one thing that sucks. Like the closest, the Milwaukee club, quote unquote, they don't have like it's like pay what you can for comedians, and since they're at like a lower capacity, like they don't even have spots for you just to go chill because like the Milwaukee like rules are so much tighter that you have to be at like 25 or 50%. So they're not just gonna like let comedians in there. So it's like
That's weird.
so I can't just like go hang out at a club. Like it's very weird.
Do you remember like who was the first person you like hosted or featured for?
Hosted like a weekend show.
Yeah.
I did a Thursday for Nathan Timmel was the
Oh,
first like weekend hosting,
he was
and
like literally
then
there this week.
he's good. It was fine. If he's still doing an hour and a half, it's like a little bit too much. Um, but I met Travis Bales, who was his feature. I love that guy. But that he's a but that was fun. That was like the first weekend day that I hosted, but like the first full weekend was like the hypnotist, Michael Otto, the guy who like
Oh yeah.
got in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
That was the first weekend. And boy was it not fun. Cause it's just like it's a hypnotist show. It's just me. Like there's not
And the
even a
hypnotist and
feature.
that, oh my god.
So I would go do 7 to 10 and then sit in the back and watch the same hypnotist show 5 times. Like it was
Why would
just
you watch it though every single time?
I would sit by the bar and just like hang out and then like just like hang out. The best was like the late show on it was either late show Friday or late show Saturday. It was around Halloween, and some guy was just like ruining the whole thing, so nobody was like getting hypnotized. And So like the guy comes to the bar and he's like, I'm not sure what to do. And Pete's like, well, you still have like another 45 minutes. And he's like, well, nobody's like falling for it. And he's just like, yeah, man, you got like you gotta do the show.
Yeah, man.
And I was like, that's where it's gotta suck. Like I know like bombing sucks real bad, and that's gotta suck for like a whole hour. But like when you're a
Dude, being a
hypnotist
hypnotist,
and
fuck.
like you have no jokes to back it up,
When you have not, like, can you do crowd work as a hypnotist?
like he couldn't even bail and just be like, all right, here's bits. Like it's like they came for a hypnotist and nobody's getting hypnotized.
How does that work? Like Cuyahoga Falls doesn't like that. Doesn't look like the type of people that are going to be like, "Oh, I've been hypnotized." It looks like the people that are like, "Nothing fucking happened." What are you talking about? You know what I
No,
mean?
those drug rattled brains of people who go to that club aren't easily swayed into hypnotism. Are you kidding me? Like that's the perfect spot. Those people are half alive when they walked in.
I may have overstepped.
Yeah. I would say hilarities is harder. Like anywhere where like people with like functioning brains go to. Like I feel like that's where it'd be hard to hypnotize people.
I, yeah, dude. I don't. Maybe it's because like the one time I got to do that stage is when shit reopened, but like that place feels like a gypsy magic place. Like I don't know how you can miss there.
At the
Whether it
funny
be
stuff?
at oh, hilarities.
Oh.
Funny
Yeah, I've
stop
never
too.
done the
A
main
funny
stage.
stop.
Tell me how to get on the main stage, Joe Briggs.
I don't know. I don't know. Funny Stop too has a good stage. Like I don't think I've really had too many bad shows at the Funny Stop. And if I
I've
had, it's because there's been like 5 people in the crowd. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've definitely bombed there, but it was like everybody bombed, and then like Jimmy Graham threw a fit, and then had to apologize to Pete on Twitter about it. So it was like a whole thing. Um, it was
So
fun being
much.
in that room, and then he like brought like he would bring it up to me because I went up directly before like it was like host I think was Bill Stone, like and like they like he got a couple chuckles, like the crowd just wasn't having it. Uh, First guest set bombed. Second guest set bombed. Me, I ate shit. And then Jimmy bombed. And then Bill went up and like crushed because it was like they were just
Oh
there
really?
for Bill Squire. Yeah, like they didn't give a fuck about anybody. Like that, like when I opened for Mary, and it was like me, Volchko, and Mary for like Valentine's Day weekend, like the late show on Friday or something like that. It was just like it didn't matter. Like Jesus himself could have come down and done a set, and they wouldn't have gave a shit if it wasn't Mary Santora. Like
Yeah.
as soon as she hit the stage, it was a completely different crowd. And it like you don't want to blame the crowd or whatever, but like they weren't there for anybody but her. But like, so Jimmy
Well,
goes up there and eats shit, and then he would bring it up to me like on the regular, and he'd be like, "Oh yeah, I remember you." I was like, "You've known me before that," and he'll be like, I remember you. You ate shit that one time," and I was like, "Whatever, dude. Like, if you want to play it like this, you can."
that that's got to be like the worst feeling if you finally get like good enough to go on the road and like feature for somebody. You know what I mean? Like a big act, but then you just have to like, they're not there for you. Like imagine like like when you go see a show and it's like John Mulaney's feature. That guy has to hate his life like a little bit. You know what I mean?
He probably gets paid very, very well though.
This is true. Okay, that's a fair point. I didn't think of that.
Like when I went and saw Tom Segura at the Roxino in Northfield, and it's like a big theater show basically, and Josh Potter opened, and like people like he did like 20 minutes cold, like there's no like host or any, like he's the opener. He comes out and does 20 minutes ice cold to the crowd, and like I
Jesus.
liked it because I did comedy. Like I was like, all right,
Yeah.
comedy. Like I know there's gonna be an opener. Like other people were just like straight up talking through the set, and then Tom Segura comes up, and then it's a completely different crowd because people don't know that like there's an opener.
But you need like if you're Segura, you don't want to just come out and do an hour and they're cold.
Yeah.
But like, god damn, dude. Just coming out to like a cold crowd doing 20 minutes. Plus, that's gotta be the worst when like the lights aren't fully dimmed yet and people are still walking into the show and talking. Like that would kill me on the inside.
Yeah, it is what it is. Like, I mean, that's kind of what you're there for, is just like take the bullets until like it's the headliner's time. Like you make sure everybody's settled in for like that first half hour. You sell some
Yeah.
drinks, you sell some booze, and then like the show starts. Like you're just there to fill time so the place makes more money.
How do you make money in comedy? Did we figure it out yet?
I no, you're asking the wrong person. Like I've
We've got like
gotten paid
7
to do
sponsors.
comedy.
We got Great Clips. We got Fingers. We got Man Stuff. Or what's that? What's that stuff called? Man Face.
We got Great Clips. We got Fingers. We got Man Stuff.
What's that stuff called? Like Man Hands.
Working Hands.
Working Hands for the mans.
I think Fingers are for lovers is the rule of the day, though.
Fingers are for lovers. Is the rule now just also the name of the podcast episode?
No, I usually just kind of make that would make sense. You know, like that'd be podcasting 101. But are for lovers. So you know, it might be the title of the podcast, you know?
That's a good title of anything.
That is true. Like if somebody saw that, like if I saw Fingers Are for Lovers, I'd probably pay attention to what that is.
They'd be like, that sounds cool. They'd check it out, and what they'd get is probably arguably the saddest episode we've ever had.
Yeah, we did start with somebody trying to kill themselves, didn't we? And then just like instantly moved on.
And like we didn't really address if she made it at any point too. That's the worst.
Who
part.
knows? There's no like if all the facts that were given to me are true, there's no way she's still alive.
It's just the logic is what's crazy to me is like, oh, she's done this before. It's like, yeah, then you should know that she has to go to a hospital.
Well, like that's like I sprained my ankles a lot when I played rugby. So now when I like walk down some steps, I might sprain my ankle a little bit, but I know I'll be good in 10 minutes because like my ankle will be fine. This is like different. Like this is like it's not something that like you
not
grow.
When you want to walk off.
Yeah, you're like, all right, cool. Like not to like make light of like a suicide attempt, but like also hey man, like why don't we like put her somewhere? Like you got to do something about it.
I mean, the fact that you sounded more freaked out by your old boss pulling glass out the milk aisle or whatever.
I was there for that. Like
yeah,
I wasn't here for this other story.
But you freaked out more for that than this girl freaked out for her friend like dying, literally dying.
The way that she was telling the story, she was like, yeah, that's just a crazy weekend, womp womp. And I was like, what are you talking about, dude?
Oh, looks like I've got a case of the Mondays. Ha ha ha. But
yeah, I was like, what the fuck, man? It is 8:30. Like
8:30 on a Monday?
It was like, no, it was this morning at like 7:15. Like it wasn't even like
nice, dude. That's like that takes some gall. That's some like I want to be comfortable sprinkling like just dashing that in conversation at any point in the day, let alone first thing in the morning.
I mean, we kind of pulled it out of her. Like, it's like me, this other dude, and her, like, all work at the same time. So we're like work friends or whatever. So she was like, yeah, it's been a rough weekend. We're like, yeah, let's talk about it. We're here. Nobody else is here. And then she's like, well, it's kind of heavy. And we're like, yeah, that's fine. Like, how I brought it up to the podcast where it was like, hey, if you're good with like a heavier subject real quick, and you're like, yeah, like, I'm ready for it. And then I'm like, this chick tried to saw her arms off. Like, and she was just like, yeah, I walked into my friend trying to kill her. I was like, that's not like, you don't just go like, hey, it was a rough weekend. You're like, this ruined my entire year. That's how that goes.
The thing that like is the scariest to me is they're just like, oh, like, you know, Becky's at it again.
Dude,
like that, like
is a 22-year-old Gen Z. Is that part of Gen Z? They're all psychopaths. That's all that makes sense. They're just desensitized to everything.
Of course they are. They've been being like blasted in the face with the internet as long as they can remember. They've seen more in their lifetime than like every generation that's ever come before them.
For people who had to live through 9/11 being live on television, I would still freak the fuck out if I saw somebody cut their wrist and then just be like, I'm just going to take him to grandma's. Like, yeah, cool, whatever. It's Tuesday.
Yeah, that's some like you want to wait. Like, that's like her reaction was like a guy who's been on 2 tours in Iraq and seen it all. and it happens at home, and he already knows what to do. Like that was her reaction. That was a hardened reaction.
Yeah, that's true.
Like,
She's been in Nam. Like she's
yeah,
22, but like somehow her spirit like lived through like Tiananmen Square or something.
yeah. She's like, it's better than napalm.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Agent Orange is a real motherfucker. Like this is nothing compared to that. You're just like,
Just like, who the fuck are you talking about?
why is your voice gravelly now? Like what?
Mine?
No, hers.
Oh,
Like
hers.
so,
She's like, it's the cigarettes, and you're like, what?
what? Okay.
You
But
don't
yeah,
smoke.
that's just yeah, it doesn't even make sense. But yeah, this has been a weird episode. So do you wanna pimp your illustrious show that you run now?
I literally made. I didn't even. Man, I'm just getting assaulted today verbally.
I do want to formally apologize on a thing that a dozen people listen to. That I should
Hey,
have
it's at least
I
a
should
baker's dozen.
I should not have undermined the integrity of your show when earlier you're like, hey man, next time you're in town, let me know and I can get you on my show. Sorry for undermining a show that last time I was in town, it was just an open mic. So like the facts that were given to me were not updated. I didn't realize that it was like a show that only everybody in Cleveland could get on. It's now you have to like at least know you to be on it. So I'm sorry that I undermined how much work you've been putting into it.
No, it's. I don't like know if this is sincere or not, but either way, it's uncomfortable for me. So thank you.
No, it is sincere because like when I was like running Water Street and people were like, "Hey, I'm just gonna show up to Water Street in due time," and I finally was like, "No, you text me before you show up. I'm trying to make sure this show's not 4 hours long and just like shitty. Like I want to
That's
like set up a thing." And
that's the
like
hardest part.
yeah, it's just
I'm
telling
so
people
bad
no.
at that. Yeah, I'm so
I
bad.
did.
Like,
I would do it all the time. I'd be like, "Hey man, if there's room, you can show up. But if not, show up and let me know you want to be on it next week, and I'll let you on." Like
yeah,
it's you just have to be firm.
I overbooked the one last week. Like we had Mary headlining, and I think there was like 11 or 12 comics total,
It's
and I
unnecessary.
was just like, it's so much. It's way too much. You're just like blasting the audience in the face with comedy. They don't like it. By the end of it, they're like almost fatigued.
Well, and that's like what like on Water Street, I was like, we've got 9 spots plus a closer. And
Yeah.
then like that way everybody can like if somebody wants to do 3 minutes, somebody can do 7 minutes. Like everybody equals out to like 5 minutes. The show is like say you get 10 people plus a closer, 9 people plus a closer, that's like 45 minutes. Then you have somebody do 15, 20 to close it or whatever they want to do. Then you're right at an hour. Like that's a perfect like Monday night show. And it'd be like a little
Yeah.
bit longer or whatever. Like it would almost be an hour and a half. But like I'm not trying to run a 3 hour Monday show.
And like that's the other thing is I forgot too that like we needed a door person and I forgot that you usually got to give that person a couple minutes too. So they added a comic, and it was just like I'm so bad at saying just no to people. Not that I should have said no to the door guy, but I should have said no to somebody along the way. But whatever, that's how
There
you learn.
here's something spicy before we get out of here. There's not 12 people in Cleveland who should be on the same show as Mary Santora. How about that?
That hurts because I was on the show, and you're right.
I mean, but it's just like I don't know. It is what it is. Like it happens. You're gonna be like you have to be nice to certain people, and there's some people who are like nicer, but like you're always like, hey, if we need to trim the show, 4 people who shouldn't have been on the show anyways. Like
Yep.
it's and it's not like it sucks. And we've like I've been there. We're like, hey man, there's not gonna be room for you, and it makes you mad and it makes you mf that person. But you're also like, well, this is kind of part of the gig. Like it's until you're good enough or like people know who you are or like it's just like at the point where you get enough clout to be like, hey, can I be on the show? I'm not on the list. Like that's where you like know that you're not going to get bounced from a show that you're already scheduled on.
And that's like there's like what maybe 3-4 people in Cleveland that can do that.
Dude, when I was back in my day, when I was coming up, like that's why I hated going to LVT because I you'd like
Everybody would bump. Yeah.
Yeah, you would come like, and just like anybody and their mother would show up. Like it would be like, I mean, like Ramon would be in town and he'd like bump you for no reason. It's like, you know what time you're gonna be here. And like what made me the most mad is like they would show up at the beginning, not sign up at all, and then just be like, all right, cool, I want to go up now. And then they would bump people. Like that's what it would be. Like they'd wait for the show to start going. And you're like, well,
Yeah.
motherfuck. Like now instead of going 13th, I'm 20th. And I've had to see like somebody's B jokes and everybody's laughing because they want to be on their show. Like that's what it was.
Well, and that's what like it would like when I was new to comedy, I'd go to LVT a lot, and it was like exactly that. And there'd be like legitimately like 9 people that would come in and just drop in,
Yeah.
and so you would like legitimately go from being like 10th to 20th.
And Brian does a pretty good job of like not
That
really
yeah,
letting that happen, or like, hey, or like you just be like it's not New York. You're not Dave Chappelle. Like
these are
you
a lot of
know,
hard truths.
yeah, like you know when the show is gonna be done. Like cool, like because we used to be like something Birdtown comedy or some shit like that was inside the back of inside the Windsor or whatever. Like now that I know that, or not
Oh,
at
the
the Windsor. What's
Winchester.
the Winchester? That one. I don't know why
Oh
I
yeah,
always
it
say the
used to be
Windsor.
like the Bevy at Birdtown was the bar.
That one. So like you know when that show is going to be done. Like that like LVT starts at 9, that show would start at like 7:30. So everybody's going to get out of there at 9. So talk to the host like you it's the same person. Like if I'm coming up and I'm like coming up on a Wednesday and I've got a set like somewhere else, like let's say it's at the Winchester, like I would be like, hey, Brian, like, can I be earlier on the list? Like, I'm coming up. Can you put me earlier on the list so I can get that done, go to the Winchester? Or I'm on the Winchester first. Can you put me like halfway through the list? So that way I'm not like bumping
There,
anybody. Like, that's just coordinating a good show.
because there was one time I think it was right before you moved where we both did Winchester and LVT in the same night, but we like switched.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just like, all right, cool. Like, I'm going to show up. And like, I'm not at the level at certain places, I guess I'm at the level where I could show up and bump people. Like if I go back to Kent and like it's like Euro Gyro, I'm walking in and I'm going whenever I want, just because like whatever. But like in Cleveland, like am I in like that upper tier of like better people? Sure. But I'm like I also am not on the radio. Like people aren't gonna be excited to see me bump people. Like
Yeah.
there's like it should be like Bill, Mary, if Alan Cox decides to do stand up again, because I've seen him do it before, and
I
then
didn't
if
even know
somebody's in town from Hilarities, that
he
should be
does
the
stand up.
people who can bump people.
Alan Cox does stand up.
He did it. I saw him once in the basement of the Kent
Great
State
Lakes.
Student Center.
Oh, was it good? I didn't know he did stand up.
He was all right. Like I was in a real big Chad Zumock phase. Like I was like 19, and like that's when I first started going to comedy shows. So I thought Chad Zumock was the best comedian of all time.
I've only met him once, I think.
It's a trip every time.
There was no joy in your face, and it hurt.
No, it's like I like hanging out. Like when I was drinking, I liked hanging out with him. I remember, I mean, it's not even talking out of school. Everybody's got Chad stories at this point. But
Yeah.
like he's like, yeah, I'm sober right now. And like ordering double vodkas on the rocks. Like, and he's like, yeah, I'm sober right now. And we're like at the bar watching a Cavs game. I was like, all right, yeah, me too, I guess. Give me a Miller Lite. Like what like what are we doing? And then like the last time I saw him, I wasn't drinking for sure this time, and he didn't have a car or whatever. And he closed out Monday at Water Street, and he was just like in town for something, like hanging out. And he's like, "Hey, can you drive me home?" I was like, "Yeah, I actually live in Stowe." Like, and it was like on
Yeah,
my way to
that's
Stowe,
cool.
and it was a cool conversation. But like the whole time, he was just like name dropping like other famous comedians, and I was like, "Cool, man. I would have like much rather talked to you about like not this, but
Life.
fine, like
Yeah.
whatever." Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna start doing that every time we hang out. Just start name dropping shit.
But like our name drops are fun. I'll
Like
drop
that.
Sean Lynch's name all the time because it doesn't get me anywhere. Like it's just like, yeah, you remember Celebrity Deathmatch from the 90s?
Oh
Yeah, I
yeah.
know that guy. He's awesome. Like people are like,
I
who
actually
cares?
was that the weekend you were in town? Because he was here the one week and I actually got to meet him. He was a nice guy.
Yeah, he's the best.
Yeah.
He's my favorite. He's like the best person.
Super nice.
And it's
He
but
is.
like name dropping some guy from like Celebrity Deathmatch. Like he wasn't even in the show. He just like created it. And
Oh,
I'm
he
sure you
wasn't
like
in it?
voice up stuff.
Yeah, I was
I'm
gonna
sure you
say.
like voice it and stuff like that, but it's just like people are like, yeah, I remember that show from 30 years ago.
It was a great show. I remember watching it with my brother. Like, if it was on, we got super pumped.
And that's not undermining the show at all. Like it
No,
was a great show,
it
but
was a
like
great show.
yeah, like if you like said Sean Lynch and didn't say creator of Celebrity Deathmatch, nobody would know what it was. And that's the perfect amount of fame. Is for like you have to like contextualize it. Like people know what you've done, but like they don't know you by name.
That's like I've always said. Like the level of fame I want is where like exactly where Kyle Kinane is.
Yeah, you've
Like
said
he's.
it before on this podcast.
I know. I said that just now.
I've said it before, but I want to be.
My memory is so bad. There's just, this whole podcast is we're just going to discover that I'm slowly losing my memory. That's all this is.
I think it's just both of us going back and forth saying the same thing over and over again.
Good. Eventually it'll stick and we'll get paid for it by the Great Clips. I'm gonna fucking jam this down Great Clips' throat. They're gonna pass.
Jam fingers down Great Clips throat.
What is it called? Man hands? I'm gonna use my man hands.
Working hands.
Working hands.
But we came up with working face.
Working face.
But no, hey, real shout out to Lifestyle Drip. It's a Cleveland company. They're not paying us to do this, but at some point they might. So let's kind of do that. They have some cool shit. If you
Lifestyle
like,
drip.
yeah, if you like clothes and skateboarding and drugs, it's like right up your alley there.
Have you played Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1, 2, 3, 4, Underground or Underground 2? Then you would like Lifestyle Drip.
When they remade Tony Hawk Pro Skater for PS4 and
Dude.
you're in your 30s now, did you rebuy it?
Dude,
Lifestyle Drip. Yeah, I have it. It's great. Oh, we should shred. You, me, and Chris Clem should shred on there sometime.
You trying to rip some boards, bro?
Yeah, bro. We're gonna like 50-50. I'm gonna like 720 nose grind.
I'm gonna twist your ass, bro.
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do some Christ air, you know?
Want to do the sick Benihanas, bro?
I'm gonna do some nollies.
I'm gonna do a Madonna, bro.
I'm gonna airwalk. I'm gonna one-footed Lucy or whatever.
I'm gonna
One-footed Lucy and Steamboat Susan are going out.
I'm gonna hit you with the soup salad and breadsticks combo, bro. You don't even.
That would be a cool way. Like they should, like you know how like in movies, like Pepsi will pay money to have like a can of Pepsi in the background.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like that would be like a good way to fundraise for something. Is like name the tricks after like all
Wait,
you can eat breadsticks.
Literally, there's a trick named the Benihana, which I think is the funniest skateboarding move.
Yeah, there's a Air Japan.
Did you ever see? This is the last thing. But like old videos of Jason Lee skateboarding before he was an actor.
No, I don't even know who Jason Lee is. Period.
He's like My Name Is Earl. He's Earl.
Oh, that guy.
And he was in every Kevin Smith movie.
I do like Kevin. I do like the one, the famous one.
Yeah, dude. There's Jason Lee was like a pro skateboarder before he became an actor, and there's like a mixtape of him online where he's like, "We're gonna go shred some Benihanas. We're gonna."
What was he in? Almost Famous. He was like
the main guy almost.
The guy.
Yeah.
That's the same person. Wow.
Wow. Yeah, he's in your favorite movie. A titular role in your favorite movie.
Almost Famous is one, not my favorite movie.
It's the only movie you've ever talked about.
I've talked about many movies. It's a good depression movie. It's my favorite depression movie.
It's the best one.
Yeah, it's the best depression movie of like, hey man, if you were a 14-year-old in the 70s, like you could have made it too. Like that would have been great.
Dude, I wish I could skateboard. That's what this comes down to.
I tried. I've just always been like not like to be Eric Cartman of like I'm not fat, I'm big boned, but I'm like set to be like my people built in my shape aren't meant to be airborne.
That's yeah. I just was too uncoordinated.
Well, that as well. Like there's like
Yeah.
that's why we're good at talking and not like in the
Yeah.
NFL. Like we had to like find a different way to be cool.
I'm honestly glad I figured that out because if I was in the NFL right now, I'd be the guy that like I would be on your fantasy football team, and you'd be like, "He's hurt again." It's the third time this season, and it's like week 4. And
Turf
the
toe.
turf toe, more
We
like
need to get
turf
him some.
Joe, haha.
We need to get him some working hand.
Working from the makers of Working Hand, Working Feet.
Boom. Tough. Yeah, we got. We've got from the makers of them. There is a foot one. We've got it.
Is there really?
Yeah.
Is it called Working Feet?
I don't remember. Something like that. Foot repair or something like that.
I hope that they like replace the wrong word so it's not working feet, it's just feet hands. I don't know why that's funny to me.
That's
Like a
your next
marketing gif.
sketch. Feet
That's
hands. It's gonna get you on SNL. Like
that's
that
like a
tiny hand skit that what's her face used to do.
that's like one of those pipe dreams where I don't know if it'll ever come true, but I don't even know if I want it anymore.
Being on SNL,
Yeah.
hard pass, dude. From like everything that I hear about it, like it's too competitive and people take it too seriously. Like that's what's fun about stand up is like if you don't feel like taking it seriously, you could just like fuck off for a day. And like nobody's like you're not bringing anything to the team. You're like, yeah, but also like I'm the team.
I just don't like that like competing for comedy is weird to me.
It's
Like
very weird.
we should all be trying to have fun. That would I feel like that would produce the best content if we're all having fun, not competing. But whatever. That's just me, dog.
Oh, I do. I need to bring up um
Working hands.
that I am 2/3 of the way to getting the Bill Squire Triple Crown.
What?
It's kind of cheating. We've talked about this, right? We're like getting a like on Instagram, on Twitter, and on Facebook.
Oh, for the same joke?
It's not the same joke. I don't.
Oh,
That's why I need to like decide if like if for something that I made up, I need to decide the rules on because I've gotten a like on my Instagram post. I got a like on a tweet response to him, and I need to get something on Facebook. So I can just get like the three. I feel like that's more incredible to get a like on 3 different things on 3 different social media platforms.
do you just speaking of Bill, do you record your sets and listen to them?
Every single one.
Okay, same. We did like a show, and he was like right after me. And when I like listened back to the set, I listened to it when I was doing laundry this weekend. Like after I got off stage, he went up and he said something like, "Yeah, that guy's like, isn't he just like the most nervous person you've ever seen?" He's like, he's got real big Egon vibes. And then in the recording, I'm off stage, but the phone is still in my pocket, and you just hear me go, "Hell yeah!" Because it's like a reference that everyone's like, "Yeah, he sounds like Ray Romano." The Egon reference is, I think, better.
I don't know what Egon is.
The guy from Ghostbusters, the nerdy one, Harold Ramis,
Yeah, great.
the
That
Twinkie guy from
So did you just like name drop a movie that nobody gives a shit about anymore?
Ghostbusters. That's a great
I don't.
movie.
It's I've never seen it.
You've never seen Ghostbusters,
Not a big Bill Murray fan.
dude? Wow, we're about to go to war.
Like Groundhog's Day was fine. I liked him in Zombieland. Like that was a perfect role for him. What about Bob was fine. Stripes was okay. I just never saw
Actually,
Ghostbusters. Like I
dude,
like Bill Murray. I'm not like anti Bill Murray. I'm just not like I'm not gonna like work for the Chive anytime soon and buy like a Bill Murray t-shirt.
that's I'm not gonna do that either. But like Ghostbusters is it's classic.
Yeah.
I don't. It's weird to me that you're like slightly older than me and have never seen Ghostbusters in your childhood because I feel like that was a movie that was like always on.
I also didn't see the Goonies until I was in my 20s. And
That same with that one.
I didn't get it, didn't like it. It wasn't made for me,
Yeah, I
especially
don't
in
get
my
the guys.
20s.
Yeah, that
Goonies
was.
Goonies never say die.
I still don't get that. I don't even get the reference because I've seen Goonies like twice and I just don't. I was too old for it by the time I saw it, and I don't like it.
Shout out to Shane Herman, who is like, I'm gonna completely shit on him completely. He's a Youngstown comic. But like those guys that like are like I'm super big into the 80s guys, but like we're born in like 87, need to calm down. Like You weren't even of age to enjoy things in the 80s, regardless.
That's how I feel. Like I was born in '92, and even then, like by the time the '90s are over, I'm 8.
Yeah, I'm not a 90s kid. Like
No, man.
all of my formative memories are from the early 2000s.
Yeah, yeah. Just genes. Just a lot of weird genes. All
Oh,
the early
that's
2000s was.
last point, then I have to go eat because I'm getting crabby.
No, you're fine.
In
We've tried.
that Britney doc, like all I could like watching it, I was like, television looked like shit in the 2000s. Like it was
Bad.
grimy.
It was bad.
It was weird. Like it was like grimy. Like I would almost rather watch like a black and white photo, like TV show because it was at least more clear. And they had her like doing like mall shows, and you're like, you had to go and like being in music, like in a boy band or a girl band in that day, had to have been worse than like being a road comic ever. Like you have to go to like if they were like we would just play malls and like people would just walk by. Like, could you imagine singing and dancing in an like in a mall and then like
No,
some people walk
no,
by?
no. Like
Like
that'd
like
be
at
that
least
sounds
with
like
comedy, there's no like backtrack. Like you can just be like, do you know what, this is a bad idea, I'm done, and then leave. And then there's not music playing while you do it. Like that's what these mall shows were.
that is. Yeah, that's like the most 2000s thing. I remember like when people would come to malls and it would be like a big deal.
Yeah.
So
Weird.
very weird.
Malls are okay. The last thing I had to like, I went down like I had to look up.
That might be the name of the episode.
Yeah, that
The
might be.
last thing.
But like the mall that I went to growing up, I like every once in a while, it's almost like a fever dream. Like I'll have like random memories of like this arcade and this mall that I used to go to. So like I had to go down like a Google rabbit hole through my like I had to use the computer to remember what it was called. Like I was like Old Mall Toledo Arcade, and it was the Red Baron Arcade in the Southwick Mall. And it took me almost an hour to find that the arcade one existed at some point, two, the mall was still a place at some point, three, that all of these things came together in this half memory that I had. And I don't know, like I was like transfixed on it for an hour, and now I'm just like, yeah, like I could have like Amazoned something now. Like I don't like malls are just a waste of time, but I love
Well,
them.
yeah.
I love going to malls now.
I still miss Parmatown Mall like too much. I miss it like a lot. So
There's a
R.I.P.
mall where like people keep getting shot over here, and I'm like, it's still a nice mall, and
Sign me
like
up.
all the people of color, shout out to being politically correct, they all dress up to go to this mall. It's wild. It's like you're walking into Atlanta. Like there's like fur coats, like skinny dresses. Like these people dress to the nines to go to the mall, and I'm like, I wish I cared anywhere as much as these people care
Yeah.
about how fresh they look going to the mall.
I wish I couldn't tell you the last time I like tried to dress up. I don't even know if I have enough clothes to do that anymore, to be honest with you. I don't know if I have a suit that fits.
Yeah, me either. I think for the wrong reason.
Same.
All
Because of the
right,
fluctuating
Joseph.
weight.
You want to do you have anything to promote? Oh yeah, remember how we got on this tangent is me saying that you should
Oh yeah.
promote that your illustrious show a half hour ago?
Yeah, we're doing a if you guys like comedy, and I know you do, haha, we're doing a show at the Winchester on 13th, I want to say.
And don't even think about just dropping in and showing up. You gotta it's gotta be special for you to be at this show that used to be an open mic.
If you try to drop in, Jimmy Graham has a knife and he will end you. And he won't even use the knife.
He'll do push-ups on top of your dead body. Oh, Jimmy Graham, not
Not Joe Graham.
not Joe Graham. Just I don't think Jimmy Graham's ever done a push-up.
He
And
doesn't need to. He's got like weird strength.
yeah, like it's like yes, and that wasn't even a slight. I don't know who was RayRoberts.com. Yogatation moved to there. Get a sticker. I have too many stickers that I bought because I made a cool logo. Buy a t-shirt. Text me and I'll give you a sticker. If you're listening to this, I probably know you personally. Just send me your address. You don't even
Just
have to
send me.
say, "Hey, I want a sticker." Just send me your address and I'll know what it's for.
That's like a really good way to just get people's addresses.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Like if I just had an address book, things that were like necessary back in the day, but now are super creepy. Address book.
I did just go to your website, and it is like yogitation is a thing now, and so is headshots.
My overpriced headshots that aren't that great, but like they're better than what I used to have. Yeah.
I like that sweater though.
Huh?
So I don't like that sweater.
That's a good sweater.
Great sweater.
Great sweater. Shout out to Express. Not even Express for men. Just shout out to Express, period.
Hey, so we're probably about ready to wrap up here. I don't know if you have anything you want to promote before we.
Yeah, I have this show at a bar that used to be an open mic, but I'm taking it really seriously now. So if you ever come into town, I can for sure get you like not like 5 minutes, but like I can at least get you like 4.
I don't even have a comeback because it's funny.
Depending on who else is on the show.
Oh. This next show, our headliner's God, so be sure to check it out. It's gonna be sick. It's
After
gonna
I
be sick.
fucking murk you. Like, all right, we're gonna stop recording.